number of things. The vision of the president is to make UDA a super party.
Correct, yes.
And some of the things that he's demanding, or the party is demanding, is that the likes of Musalia Mudavadi and the Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula should fold their party and join UDA to form a single party. Your thoughts on the same?
Well, I think in terms of the politics, they always look for dominance. And I think that is, they might be informed by that, in the sense that they want at least to be known as that party, so that they can also attract many other people, because the bigger the party, the more attractive it comes even to the people out here. You remember even during the time of TNA and the URP, they also joined together to form the Jubilee. So it is actually a strategy in terms of making the party look very big. You see, like now the ODM, for some time it has been known as a very dominant party. So if the ODM joins with other parties, then that party, the other parties also, they become very big in terms of the one. So I think that is what they are looking for in terms of this party. You see, like now the UDA, it may not be that popular in Western Kenya. But if, for example, they came together and they say that we are going to move as a UDA, then you will find that the UDA is going to be known even in the areas that it was not known. So there is actually a danger, and also there are advantages. To the party, it is very many advantages. To the other parties, it is actually maybe a disadvantage, in the sense that at the end of the day, it's that you may not get, if you are to vie. You see, there are some independent candidates also who vie, and they get their position, they go through. But now what will happen is that there will be limited number of people. So you find that people are going to be fighting on a very small segment, and that's where now you start finding many people are grappling also. So to manage the whole thing is not an easy aspect. It is quite a difficult thing.
The way it's been approached, I mean, if you look at political parties in the country, political parties in Kenya are basically individuals, in the sense that without Raila Odinga, ODM is a shell.
Correct, that is true.
If Raila Odinga was to jump out of ODM today,
there would be no ODM.
And then join another party, I mean, ODM would just collapse.
Correct.
If William Ruto was to jump out of UDA, UDA would become a shell.
Correct.
The same thing with Musalia, with ANC, and Ford Kenya. So if you look at the political parties in Western countries, take the US, they are built around policies, not individuals.
Correct.
So that irrespective of which leader comes into play, the policies, there's what that party believes.
Correct.
But we don't have that here, do we?
No, we don't have, and that is the danger that we are talking about. Because you see, as we say, that ODM is actually a Baba business, whether we want it or not. And that's why you can make all the decisions that you want to make. But when Baba says change this decision, nobody is going to come in and say we cannot make that decision. You see, even like the way you have seen the Jubilee, even the fights which have been in Jubilee, it is actually at the end of the day, people will talk so much, but still there is a uhuru somewhere, even in the whole of that discussion. And it is quite unfortunate that there are no policies, there are no structures. It is actually someone, when you hear that party, as you have rightly said, when you hear ODM, actually ODM is actually synonymous with Raila Odinga. Which is quite unfortunate. If, for example, today Raila is not there, you may find that this party may not even start, because it is not based on a strong foundation. It is based on people. And that is why you will find that even when they want to other people to fold, like now you see the Ford Kenya, it is very difficult even for the people who are in Ford Kenya to accept their party to be folded. You know
they
why?
get relevance out of
Yes.
that party.
And there is also some money that they get every other particular time. You know, there is the political party funding.
Yes.
So they get a lot of money as being the political parties. And that's why they fight for the numbers. Who has many numbers in parliament? Who has many numbers? You know, all these things, because there is a percentage they will be getting money from. And if you fight in Kenya right now, why are people fighting? It is because you remember in 2022, people are fighting and they were saying, Wiper, we were not given the monies that we are supposed to be given. ODM, you are given our money. You remember the other time, they say you are given our money and you did not share with us. So you see, many people will not want to go that direction, because at the end of the day, this maybe the UDA will be given the monies. But when it is given the money, is it going now to share with the other parties, the small parties which have joined them?
And what about, you know, you see, when Moses Wetangula is at the helm of Ford Kenya, it gives him the bargaining chips.
Sure.
He's able to bargain with whoever comes.
Correct, yes.
And the same thing with ANC. Moses Wetangula is the one who delivered Bungoma to UDA.
Yes, correct, yes.
So if he loses this and becomes just a part of UDA, well, does he become stronger or weaker?
Actually, let me tell you, in politics, you become strong if you have something to give. If you don't have anything to give, you can talk very many words. You can do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, there is nobody who will feel you. Because it is easy for someone else to rise up in Bungoma. And he becomes the favorite for the top leadership of the UDA. And when now they become the favorites of that, you know what will happen? Someone like Mudavadi, someone like Wetangula, their star is going to start dimming. It's actually going to start slowly by slowly. It is losing the right. And that's why now you fight. Many of them, actually that discussion, it is a discussion which they are actually fighting it. I know when they are together, they are talking about it. But when they go mashinani, they are actually even telling their people, this is a direction we cannot take. Because these guys, they want to be relevant. You see, like now, in ODM, and we have seen Honorable Raila. What happened when 2017? Is that because he is the dominant person? Who does Uhuru pick the phone and call?
He's the one.
It is the one.
And once he decides it's a handshake.
Yeah, it is a handshake, yes. And that's where you realize people like Akina Kalonzo, they were left out. Why? Because they went in one party. It is like one coalition. And now the head of the coalition is Honorable Raila. So they are actually not going to be called in the meeting. And you find that is where now even people like Akina Musalia, they already know that right now, if a meeting is called, it is called for the people who are having bigger parties. So they will not accept that easily, because they know if there is something to be shared, if we are actually in this party, we are going to be saying that our leader has agreed. But for them, they are not actually even in that, because
they're not even being considered as...
Correct. That is true. So it is actually a difficult discussion. And I know quite a lot will happen. I know for the UDA, that's what it would be looking for. But it is not an easy thing, especially to fold something like Ford Kenya.
Yeah, it's a difficult call, seeing that, you know, it already has numbers and has weight on the ground.
Correct.
How do we now? I see where they're coming from, in the sense that they would love to have maybe two dominant parties, so that you either have UDA and on the other side either Azimio as a party, form Azimio to become a party, swallow up ODM and the rest, so that we have more or less the same thing that we have in the United States and the UK and the other major democracies, where you have two main political parties. And you always know that the president is basically going to come from these two parties. And is what they believe in. So you have a country like in the States, those who are Republicans, they know why they are Republicans. And they hold that, and they know exactly why they are in it. The same thing with the Democrats. How do we transform these parties that are governed by individuals to become policy-driven or ideology-driven parties?
Well, I think it is something that will take a lot of time. And why I'm saying it will take a lot of time is because our Kenyan politics right now is based on what is there for me.
Yes.
Actually, there is nothing much apart from that. In fact, if you look at the manifestos for most of the parties in Kenya, they are copy and paste.
They don't believe in anything.
No, they don't. In fact, if you are to go through even like the manifesto for Azimio and the manifesto for Kenya Kwanza, you realize many things are copy. It is only twisting something, so there is nothing new. And that is the danger that we are having. So it is difficult in terms of saying that we are going to get into Kenya to a position whereby we are going to start looking at politics in a different way. The thing is, many of the people, because they don't see the bigger picture. Actually, by the way, even right now, do you know, many people are not concerned about this country, Kenya. The politicians.
They are not.
No, they are not. Actually, what they are concerned
about themselves.
That is the bottom line. And therefore, in fact, they can actually come and block any good system. Any good system that can deliver us, they can block it. Why? Because it will make them not to have what they are looking for. And I have looked at so many politicians. In fact, if you look at the things that are happening with politicians, right now, do you know what? We are actually on going to the second year.
Yes.
From now henceforth, it is actually alliances. Whether they are good, whether they are bad, and that's why we were saying sometimes politicians, they will see a man who murdered, but he has a voice. They will forget about that he murdered someone.
And they will jump onto him.
And they will jump and they will say, we are joining together. They will join even with thieves. They will join even with murderers. Not because of anything else, because they don't look at Fred in terms of several years to come. They look at what is it that I can get from Fred that can make me to go to the top. And that's why we are saying, in terms of Kenyan politics, to change from where we are, it really needs the intervention of God, I tell you.
As a leader, how would you steer a political party to become an ideology-based party, so that when you mention your party, people know that these are the values, these are the cause that basically the party is built upon, and members of this party believe this?
What I can do for me, and it is a difficult thing.
Yes.
And I would want to refer to the Bible a little bit.
Yes.
There is one gentleman that he had some brothers, but he was a step brother to them.
Yes.
And the brothers came and they looked at him and they told him that you are not going to inherit anything from us.
Yes.
Why? It is because you don't belong to our mother.
Yes.
And he was sent away. He was sent away and he was told nothing that you are going to get from here. This man, he went to the desert and he looked for like-minded men. That's the word I wanted to come to. The like-minded men.
Yes.
And they knew all of them, they were outcasts. They had been driven away from the inheritance and they had been taken to the wilderness. And they came together as people who are with common mind. And they started now saying, look, we can do something. Because of what? They had one mind. This one mind made them, when the community, that society was being fought, they sat down and they asked themselves, who is it who can fight for us?
Yes.
And they remembered there is a man who had a principle and who was very strong. And they went to look for him. And they found that person had built a big army of the like-minded people, outcasts, but like-minded people. And they went and told him, we want you to fight for us. But he gave condition. He asked them, if I fight for you and I win, what will be given to me? And he was told, you will be our leader. And there was a lot of discussion about it. But he accepted to go and he fought. And the war was won. So what I want to say is that if we are to change the political parties and the systems that they have, we must agree that we must have people who are like-minded. I will not go and look for Fred because he is a heckler. Sorry, I know you are a cool man.
Make a lot of heckling.
Yeah, but I am saying, I will look at the principle. What does Fred believe in? Is he in line?
That is so key. What somebody believes in.
Yes. There are some few things, Fred, right now, even if it happened because of my strong belief, I would not do. Can I tell you? There are some deals I will always lose. Why? It is because I cannot go and bribe anyone for them to give me something. I cannot go and buy votes. It is not in my DNA. And therefore, you must look for people who are like-minded. Whether they are saved, whether they are not saved, but they have at least one mind. At the end of the day, they are saying, we want to see a change in this country. We don't want only to politic. We want to see the posterity of this country. And therefore, when you get people who are like-minded, that is the only way, Fred, that we can be able to change the politics. Whereby you start and say, look, I will not go and get people. Like now, sometimes you fight. You are fighting some politicians. These politicians, they are actually grabbing land everywhere. In fact, you cannot leave them even with your daughter. Why? Because they are known to be the people who are actually at Koinange and doing all these kind of things. It gets to a point and you say, there are some people, even if they are pride, to be in my party, I will not accept them. You know, right now, you only go in fact, today you can change. Ulikuwa Azimio, you can change to Kenya Kwanza just by going into the internet and just going to that platform. And you say, now today I'm an ODM. Why do you change like that? What is the manifesto of the ODM? Until we get to a point whereby there is going to be a training. People go out and say, we stand for this. And that's why I like the debate for the presidency. You see, like the way even I saw in the US and all that thing, it is a serious thing. When a president aspiring goes and starts, he is questioned. Very well. Watch here, Kenya, where people even say, decide whether they are going or they are not going. That one, it is almost, you have to go.
If you don't go, you've almost lost the election.
You have almost lost. Why? It is because people are studying on principles. And I think for Kenyans, we must get out one of the tribal cocoons. There's some that the tribal. It's whereby even a thief will actually steal, and then he goes to the people in the village and they start saying, we are demanding for our man to be released. Our thief. This is actually where we are saying, Kenyans, we have to change and move out of these things.
So we have to interrogate the political parties and ask them, what actually do you believe in?
Correct.
Because take for instance, if Christianity was a political party, we would have our leader, Jesus Christ.
Yes, correct.
And their values, principles, that whoever subscribes to the political party Christianity would know that this is what we stand for.
Correct. By the way, let me tell you, have you seen some martyrs? Actually, they were slaughtered like animals. Why were they slaughtered? It is because they knew this is what we believe in. You cannot take us out of what we believe in.
Yeah.
And that is actually, when you know exactly what you believe in, and you know these are, as the same way you have said, like even being called a Christian. Yeah. Why? It is because of the people who acted and did everything according to their leader. Right now, you find that there is nothing in Kenya. It is actually someone even who has no direction. He will come, but how heavy is your pocket? And I think these are the things we must actually come out. And the government, we had tried actually to do this in Kenya.
Yes.
You remember, there is a time that there was almost a capping in saying that a president cannot use more money than this amount.
Yeah.
The MP, maybe they were saying cannot use more than 5 million. But can I tell you, people actually shut down that kind of a thing.
Because I think the presidency was going up to 4 billion.
Yes.
But I know this one, by virtue of, let's just say, the networks, I know of presidential candidates who spent over 15 billion shillings. Actually, others went to 20 billion shillings during the campaigns. Some their money, some not their money. Others have gone beyond that.
That's why I'm telling you. Do you know, actually, even in terms of the party itself, if, for example, a president has spent 15 billion, and you have said it in the right way, some is his money, others is not his money. So the question that we need to ask ourselves, where did that money come from? So there are some people, and that's why you kept on hearing about the state capture. You know, when you hear about the state capture, and even now the politics, you see, there are some people who are more powerful in UDA than the people who keep on heckling and moving up and down. There are some people, there are some people, if they said something, that we want this direction in the UDA, all the other people who have been life member for the UDA, they will actually be there, but a decision will be made by 5 men.
The shareholders.
Yes, the shareholders. And that's why you hear the vice president talk about that. He knows what he is talking about. There are some people who actually goes and tell him that we are the shareholder. And he is told, you must first of all think about us than anything else. So that's where we are saying policies will never be a thing in this country. Why?
You're saying will never be.
It will take a lot of time if it has to get there. It is not this 2027, 2032. It is going to take a lot of work and a lot of time. Some of the things that we are doing, and they are good to make sure that if, for example, we cannot agree on capping that kind of expenditure.
Yes. Actually, you are to cap. And then everybody was to tell, the act said that you are to tell, disclose the source of the revenue, whether it's being out of the country or local, who has given you the money.
That is the thing that we are saying. Do you know that is the accountability and the responsibility that the parties have? But they have actually tried to learn away from all that. And that's why we are saying today, even as we are looking at a position whereby we have the right policies for the parties, it is becoming so difficult because parties, they have no policies, but they have men and women who have power. And it is the power of money.
And it's the individuals that we can call them the owners of the party.
Correct.
They are the ones who have the deep pockets. UDA, obviously, it's the president himself. ODM, it's, as we said, Raila Odinga. When Kibaki was alive, DP was his party. He was the one who was bankrolling it. Kalonzo Musyoka,
the wiper,
So we are literally led by the people with the deep pockets because they are the ones who form the political parties and decide what the political party is going to believe. So if these people don't have a conscience, these leaders of these political parties, if they don't have a conscience, they don't have a value, then the political party just takes their shape.
Yeah, it takes that dimension. And I will give you a good example.
Yes.
I won't mention the person.
Yeah.
But one time, I went to the office of one of billionaire in this country who is in media.
A billionaire who is in the media.
Who is in the media.
Yes. I know quite a number of people. Their minds have started counting. Okay, so
I will try to be very crafty so that you don't get to know who that person is. But I know literally you'll get to know who I am talking about.
Yes.
When I went, I had gone there because there is something that I was working on. I was working on with one of the person.
Yes.
And he was aspiring to be a member of parliament somewhere.
Yes.
So he told me, let's meet at such a place.
Yes.
And I went. Do you know, actually, to my amazement, how many politicians I found sitting at the lodge? I looked at all of them. I started laughing. Fred, you know why?
Yes.
All of them, you know why they had gone to that businessman?
Yes.
It is funding.
Money.
It is money. And you know, this guy, a friend of mine, and he is actually also a billionaire. He has a lot of money.
Yes.
But I found that he was actually going to this guy in the media to fund him. And everybody was going there. The people who are lining up, do you know everybody was getting not less than $1 million?
What?
Yes. Not less than $1 million. You go and you are given $1 million. And I am not giving you stories.
Yes.
I am actually telling you, even the man that I had gone to see, he went without money, but he left with $1 million, whereby you are getting it like this.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you a question. When this man gets to be a governor, gets to be the member of parliament of that region, who will actually be saying what need to be done? Is it him or the man who pays?
The wise men say that he who pays the piper plays the tune.
That is the thing. So that's where we are saying there are no policies. The thing is, there are people who are actually controlling. You had like Musalia Mudavadi one day, and he said it like a joke, but it is actually a reality. You remember he was saying that Raila is being controlled with a remote. You remember that those kind of a statement that he says sleep, and then he puts on the remote like this and he sleeps. All those things, you know why he was saying this? Is because not that is what Uhuru was doing to Raila, but he was funding. He was doing a lot of funding in terms of the activities.
From the statement is that the former president was pumping money into the Azimio campaign.
Correct.
And so because he was pumping money, he was the man who was making or calling the shots.
Yeah, even in terms of the top leadership.
Yes.
Do you know, actually, there was a different view in terms of who is going to be the vice president, the deputy president, who is going. But by the way, until the people who are paying the monies, until they say the final call, these are the things we are just speculating. And that's why you find that there are some people who are actually put on the top leadership because of the interest that is with the person who is giving monies. So there are people that you fight. Even right now, there are people that you are fighting. They are actually in position. Some of them right now are the CSs.
Yes.
You fight, there are some CS. When you look at them, you ask yourself a question. Why is it that these people did not see Fred?
As in, the person would not fit to be the chairman of a local cattle dip.
Literally, they cannot. But you fight them. In fact, PS.
Yes.
And you know the PS are actually the think tank in terms of the ministries. Some of the PS that you are now looking at are people that you are actually ask yourself a question. Really?
How did
these people make to get there? It is because there is someone who was actually working on the background. And he comes and tells you, Fred, you remember what I did for you. The only thing I want you to do, take this person and take them into this ministry. Do you know why they are taken in those ministries? Because again, in those ministry, it is not the person on the top who is actually going to say what is going to happen.
Yes.
It is actually some other people, cartels. And that's why yesterday I looked at CS for Treasury.
Yes.
Dungu.
Yes.
Do you know what he said? The challenge that we have in our economics for the country is for what we call the market capture. The market has been captured, literally, 100%. Such that you find, even this issue that we are talking about, the sugarcane, it is actually a market capture. A very big cartel.
A strong cartel has come in and captured that market. Not a lot, even withstanding the government and all its machines.
Yes, in the sense that, can I tell you, you will actually, for the government, they will put a show for some few days.
Yes.
After that, things cool. And people start operating as usual. This is because there is something that happens. Let me tell you, Fred, we have to be very careful. And I think integrity is one of the things that will help even this country to have political parties with the right ideas and doing the right thing. If people don't have integrity, it becomes so difficult for us even to talk about having political parties which have visions.
Yes.
There are actually things which are just a vehicle to take you from one point to another. And that's why, for example, you can ask yourself a question. Why is it that, Fred, you can be in this party today,
and in the evening...
In the evening, you have jumped.
No policy beliefs.
Nothing. It is actually, you are looking at, and that is the politicians for you. They weigh, and they ask themselves, which direction do you think the country is going to? And now when they see, you actually see someone who was so strong in Azimio, actually shift very fast and go to Kenya Kwanza. And immediately he goes to Kenya Kwanza, you start now seeing them. They have become maybe the chairman of this parastatal. They have become all these kind of things. So they look at what is it that I can get. So policy is the last thing they think about.
Now, in the course of the week, actually, I think it was last week, but this has become now prominent. There have been talks about changing the presidential terms. This was basically brought up by
the Senator
Gerald Gay.
Yes.
And he's talking about extending the terms. And I was looking at an article where somebody says there's a lot of sense in it. Let's just make it a one-term, 10-year term, where you come in, when you win the election, you go for a whole 10 years. We know you have a 10-year term, so it's a one term of 10 years. You go finish whatever you need to finish, and you go home. Do you think that would give whichever leader sufficient time to be able to come up with policies and to come up with development projects and to be able to fulfill the vision that he has for the country?
Well, it depends with the leader who is at the top. There are some leaders, and I can tell you, let's look at the history.
Yes.
We started with Jomo Kenyatta.
Yes.
Jomo Kenyatta, he was on the throne for leadership of Kenya for how many years?
Yes.
We can look at the many years that he was. The one that you can remember too well, and many people actually they remember, is Moi.
Yes.
The former president and the late. Moi was in leadership for 24 good years. The thing is, Kibaki was in leadership for how many years? For 10 years.
Yes.
And Uhuru was in the leadership for 10 years. And again, Ruto is supposed to be in the 10 years. The thing is, years can work great.
Yes.
And that's why I say it depends with the leader that is there.
You might get a leader who is horrible. You want to be out in a month or so.
Correct. You see, like now, and let's be fair, because the old man listed.
Yes.
The former president. In fact, that is one man that I know personally. Because the former president, Moi, he came to my office 9 times.
To your office?
My office. He came to my office 9 times.
We are seated with the BV here.
No. Really nothing much. But I can say he is a man that I know.
Yes.
And we could actually sit with him the way we are with you here and talk. You know, I was a small boy. In fact, he used to call me, and I knew, David, you are a small boy. You know, but he loved me in terms of we could sit down and talk. When he comes, even his PPA.
Yes.
He used even to come to my office and I look whether the old man is still in the office or what. But I can tell you, however good he was to me, I can tell you one point. For the 24 years that Moi was there, they were not interrupted.
Yes.
But I can tell you, he did some few things, but there are several other things which he did not do. In terms of the development. Yes. I know he did a lot in terms of the education. In fact, most of us, we are product of the Maziwa ya Nyayo.
True.
You know, so there are quite a number of good things that he did. But in terms of the developing the country, he had an opportunity for 24 years.
Yes.
Even the small roads, even here in town, even Thika. I used to go to Thika. Do you know you had potholes from the word go up to Thika?
Yes.
You couldn't even get a good load where you could drive. It was pothole throughout.
Yes.
But how many years? 24 years. So what I am saying is, this issue of numbers, it is only that Kenyans' politics is about politics. Because we waste a lot of time instead of allowing the government to do its thing. Right now, do you know what? In the first 1 year, would you say that 1 year was very useful?
For the current president?
For the current president.
No, it wasn't.
So you see, already that year is a waste.
Yes.
Even if you are to put 7 years, you really are talking about already we have wasted a whole 1 year.
Yes. The 1 year is...
The 1 year is gone. There is another 1 year which will be gone. In fact, if not 2. The time people now started looking at 2027. I can tell you, the magic is not in the number. The magic is in the integrity of our leaders. Such that we love Kenya that much that we do not want to see it go the long way. But you know today what is happening, like our opposition.
Yes.
They will actually fight every good thing to discount a government because they don't want that government to be seen
to do
well. So that they will have at least 2026. They will have something to say, we told you. This government could not deliver. They have not done. And they are so proud telling us how the government has not delivered anything. So the problem, I would say, whether ears need, there is no problem with the ears. Again, it can be a good thing if we have the common mind. And that's why today I think I'm talking about the common. Being in common in terms of how do we see. We say there is one thing that unites us, all of us. And that unity is actually one united Kenya. Apart from politics, we want to see development in this country.
One of the arguments that is being given for this push for the change in town is that, you know, the first 5 years, at the beginning, we spend a lot, like we were talking about, billions of shillings for the elections, and these are candidates. And then you have now the government putting into place the mechanism to ensure the election is secured. Then IEBC. I mean, we spend a lot of billions securing the election or ensuring that the election is done. And as you can see, the first year is gone.
Sure.
The last year will be done. So we're basically talking about slightly around 3 years of a president doing his thing. And then we go back to the same thing, spending more money so that we can get somebody into power. Why not spend that amount of money once so that we know you're going in, be it 7 years, like Cherargei says, be it 7 years or 10 years for that matter. But you're going in for one term, and after that, we know you're done. If you did not finish what you had set out to do, you simply were not meant to finish, or you mismanaged yourself.
You know, I like that line of thought.
Yes.
But also there is something that I can add to that.
Yes.
One of the things that I would say is, for example, if our president, William Ruto,
yes,
he doesn't know that he has a 2027 to fight for.
Yes.
Sometimes he can actually get into power. I'm not saying that's what he will do.
Yes.
He can get into power. And when he gets into power, what does he do? He builds his empire.
Yeah.
Because
once I've been elected,
there is nothing else. In fact, I'm not looking for presidency any other time.
Yes.
So he doesn't have that. A good leader will have an urge. He will not say that I will not deliver because there is nothing else in me. But there are some few leaders who will not care. They will say, look, my term is only one.
Yes.
Whether I deliver or whether I don't deliver, already I was chosen. And it is very hard for people to get me out of this position. So some of the people will not really be so, focused in terms of delivery.
Yes.
And that is where we are saying some of them, they are good. There are some people who will actually say 7 years is good time. Because in fact, if you look at Kibaki,
yes,
when did he start delivering for this country? It is not, the first term was a very difficult time for him.
Because that's the time they were constantly in squabbles with the
Honorable Raila, the Nusu Mukate,
yes,
and the Nusu Carpet.
Yes.
You remember those kind of things?
Yes.
To the extent you remember, there is a time that Honorable Raila went to Alali and he asked the people, kama ni president alikuwa amekuja hapa, mugemwekea carpet nusu.
that was after 2007.
Yes. That's why we are saying there was a lot of squabbles.
Yes.
And that is where we are saying, even if we are to go the 7 years, let's avoid the squabbles and make sure that we are focused in developing this country. Because the more we keep on fighting,
yes,
by the way, poor politics has made Kenya to be where it is right now. Because we are having political leaders instead of leaders who are actually looking at the country, and they are selfish. Some of the leaders are very selfish. They are only looking at the country by just saying, we have to do this so that we can to get into power. We have to do this. So what is it that drives them? It is acquiring power. It is not developing the country. And that's why I'm saying they will be given 7 years, but if their idea is not developing the country, it is acquiring power, they will actually do the same thing that is happening. That within the 5th year, what will they be doing? It is grooming their successor. And this successor they will be grooming, it is not someone. So even the last 2 years now, they will still not work. They will want their man still to be on the top.
Now, this plays a very interesting scenario for the church in this sense. If the church basically did what it was supposed to do, the church can be able to come up and probably develop leaders from within it. People will go into the marketplace. And we have this kind of people into the marketplace and everywhere that can be able to lead, not because of their stomach, but they're leading to ensure something changes in this country to change the lives of the people. Let us look at the way God governs his kingdom. He has a manifesto. He has a constitution, which is the Bible, which everybody is supposed to adhere to. And the welfare of the poor, the welfare of the people is the heart of the king.
Correct.
He thinks about how he can make
the
life of his citizens. Can't we get people from within the kingdom who would have that kind of mind? I mean, they are thinking about the people, the welfare of the people.
You know, it is unfortunate. Yeah, I'm a pastor.
Yes.
But it is unfortunate that most of our, church leaders,
yes,
also they have failed this country.
mm-hmm.
They have gotten some opportunities to go out and to speak. And they are supposed to be a voice.
Mm-hmm.
The voice of change.
Yes.
The voice of integrity.
Yes.
But you know what has happened
Mm-hmm.
is that you find today, even the political leaders don't respect the body of Christ.
Mm.
Why? It is because
Mm-hmm.
what happens is that some of our top leaders in the church,
yes,
they go to the meetings
mm-hmm.
and they meet who is who.
Mm.
But instead of actually giving a direction in terms of this is what we feel this country. And let me say, the church has actually the numbers. If we were to go the other political way,
yes,
the church has the numbers. Because I can tell you, most of the people, like now, see, this is a church.
yes,
Most of the people actually who believe in what we do, we can be able, Fred,
yes.
to tell them,
Mm.
this is the right direction.
Mm.
And I can tell you, more than 70% would be able to follow. Because they have looked at our lives, and they have seen what we have done, and it becomes very easy for us to give a direction. Today, at the end of the day, you find I am speaking this,
Mm-hmm.
another pastor is speaking this direction.
We
So
cross purpose.
all of us, we are close. We are looking at again, and it is the same way I told you. Politicians go and sit, waiting for monies.
Yes.
Most of the church, the leaders,
Yes.
they are also in the same category.
Mhm.
The sense that if, for example, our politicians get even to these premises, do you know what will happen?
Mhm.
You had actually done a message. God spoke to you to speak about, unfair measures.
Yes.
The treatment of the poor and all these kind of things. And you didn't have an idea a politician is going to come.
Mm.
And you know what? When the politicians comes and sits there, and you actually give him, in fact, you will actually give him the best seats.
Yes.
You will change that sermon so that it can fit that kind of the leader, the athlete, let me tell the political leader. You will actually now change your topic, and you are actually trying to massage everything. Yet God had sent you to speak against some of the things which are happening. And that's where we are fighting. The church is losing it, because the church is supposed to stand on one stance. And we say, look, there are some leaders, we will call them out. And we will tell our members, you are not a good man, because we have seen what you have done.
Yes.
And when we call out on the leaders who are not doing the right thing, Fred, you will realize the church is going to be the church of Christ.
Yeah.
Whereby you have talked about God, Jesus was so concerned about the law,
Yes.
about the people who are struggling. In fact, he said, the main purpose as to why I came,
Yes.
I didn't come because of people who are doing very well.
Yes.
I came so that I can give hope even to the people who are down here. I came so that the sick can be healed. So look at the mission of Jesus Christ. It was actually to change the life of the people. So any leader who is not changing, it doesn't matter whether he comes from our tribe.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether he speaks my own language. It doesn't matter whether he comes from my party. I can actually, do you know, the other time, you remember there is a time people were actually being told, kuchaguana, vote suti.
Yeah.
From top
To
bottom.
Yes.
What kind of politics is this? That we are telling people, don't think. What you do is that Fred is the one who is on the top. Atimpatie watu wa kuongoza.
Yes.
So give Fred all the thieves. Give Fred all the people who are grabbing lads, because ni suti. These kind of things, there is nothing. People will not think about you, because in fact, in the first thing, you placed the wrong people into leadership. And that's why we are saying today, let the church now come and be the voice of reasoning, whereby we are going to speak, and all of us, we come together because God is one.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether you are in KAG, whether you are in Redeemed, we are believing in one God. And therefore, our voice should be one.
In the sense our heart is for the welfare of the people. We give them the gospel.
Correct.
To change their hearts, their spirits.
Yes.
And at the same time, we ensure that the government in place is actually taking care of those who are not in a good position, when
Correct.
Be it economically, socially.
Yes.
And it's our responsibility to ensure that we tell the government when it's going right and when it's going wrong, when it's not. Like John the Baptist.
Sure.
Herod marries his brother's wife. John the Baptist does not shut his mouth. He tells him, you've done wrong.
Correct.
And ends up losing his neck for it.
But that is the word we are saying.
Yes.
We are saying the church has to speak. Because you see, like I have seen some actually Christian leaders, church leaders, who have actually changed the governments. You see, like there is one man that I like. People like Molly Selulo.
Yes.
These people actually, they have sat with the governments of the day and they question them and they tell them, look, what you are doing is not godly. In fact, there is one of the preacher who came here to Uganda.
Yes.
During the time of Idi Amin.
Yeah.
No, not Idi Amin. Before Idi Amin was this man called who?
Not Obote.
Yes, it is. And there are things he was not doing right. And he was told, you must change. Otherwise, these governments, the government is going to go.
Yes.
Do you know what happened? He did not change.
Yes.
What happened? It was taken by a ruthless man.
Yeah.
And this is actually whereby when people hear God and they speak the word of God and they start. This man did not care. He went and he told him, by the way, it is either you stop this kind of a thing or this position is going to be taken out of you. Do you know when you face like President Luto, how many people would actually face him the way we are facing one another?
And you tell him what you're doing is
and you tell him with all the respect, President Luto, what you are doing is not right. And if you continue doing what you are doing, we believe in a powerful God. We will be able to remove you from this position. Because do you know what, by the way, we have the power to raise and to bring down.
But we don't seem to understand that we hold such a powerful position in this world, because we can speak to the King of the universe and he can intervene in the affairs of men. But we seem not to be conscious of the position that we have, that we approach and respond like beggars. I think it's Ecclesiastes where the wise man says that he has seen an absurdity where the king is walking while the servants are riding horses. We don't know our position, and so because of that, we don't know what to do.
Actually, that is the real danger that we have. We have not known how powerful we are. Do you know, actually, Fred, the position that God has given us as the church? And that's why we are saying, let's start. The voice of the church need to be known.
Yes.
Actually, when we go to our knees and we are serious about what we are telling God, God is able. In fact, there is also somewhere in the Bible whereby God can actually shift things. Things are shifted when men and women, they know the God they believe in. They are shifted. Today, you can actually be the real person. People look at you and say, Fred, you are winning this thing.
Yes.
But even without stealing, you are defeated. Square.
Yes.
Why? It is the shifting that happens in the kingdom of God. And that's where we are saying, for the people of church, we must get to know who we are, because we have the power, we have the authority, we have the power to create kings, and we have the power again to bring them down. And if we get to that position, Fred, whereby we know our stance, politicians are going to come to us. You know, during the time that they are going to vie, do you know what will happen to the politicians? They will come flocking here. We want you to pray for us. After they get their position, do you know what? They will never come. When they come next time, you need to start them there and tell them, look, we are not in the business of praying for you. You get the position and you will only remember God when 2027 is nearing.
True.
This is the voice we need, as someone who is going to tell them, if you want to come to my church,
you come and you'll always come.
You will always come.
Yes.
And I can tell you it will change the leadership, even the political leaders. Why? Because they know Fred is no joke. It is either we toe the line or we don't toe the line.
Yes.
When you are called, Fred, to go and advise the presidency, go and sit down and tell them the truth. You are not doing the right thing. And when you say that, you can be beheaded because they have the instrument anyway. You can disappear for some few days, which is still okay. But I want to ask, how many Christians will actually speak without fear because they know that they lay? You know, let me tell you, there is a time that the church was the church, and I would wish we get back to that position. There is a Reverend, is it Reverend or Apostle Joya?
Yes.
You remember the man by the name Joya, who was actually the big he was actually for the PCEA. Is it the PCEA?
Yes.
This man, he gave former President Moi the trouble for his life. He could not do anything which was not good because he knew Reverend Joya is going to be, and he used to come out. I am telling you, there is a time he was clobbered. You know, he was clobbered in the streets. And he was beaten thoroughly. But even after being beaten thoroughly, Reverend Joya still rose up. And he said, whether you kill me or whatever you want to do, I am going to speak against the evil things which are happening. But today, as Christians, we want the comfort that we don't want actually to be on the long side with the government. We want to be the darling of the government. And I am asking, where are Reverend Joya for today? People actually who fought. In fact, the liberation that we keep on talking about here, people like Reverend Joya, they have paid it with their blood.
Yeah, they did.
Because they are
tough.
Yes, they were tough. It was even during a regime, which was a very bad regime. You could disappear anytime.
Yes.
But these guys, they stood. But today, you look at it, Christians, actually our bishops, our leaders, they are given the opportunity to go and speak. Do you know what? They will even not speak. They will even go and, you know, we hold a very good service whereby you are not going to challenge the status quo. And that's why I have said, even the church is failing us. And I am sorry because I am part of it. But we need to do more than what we are doing. We need to speak the truth. It doesn't matter. And I read somewhere and it said, there is no success without a sacrifice.
True.
If we are looking for the success of this country, we must be ready to sacrifice for this country.
As a country, we must be willing to pay some price.
We must be. And that's why I'm saying, may it be the religious circle, may it be wherever you are, in the political arena, there must be sacrifice. If we want to see a great Kenya, we must sacrifice for this country. Reverend Joya and those kind of people, they sacrificed. Even today, he is nursing the beating he got. But he stood and actually he said, in fact, if there is anybody who was a trouble to Moi, it was Reverend Joya and Wangari Maathai.
Yes.
These people are the people who really stood and they said, we love our country. We will not allow it to go this direction. It doesn't matter the beating that and the two of them, by the way, they were beaten proper. I can tell you, like Wangari Maathai, there is one time I looked at her being pulled. You see the hair?
The dreadlocks.
The dreadlocks, because you used to have them. They were being pulled like this. And it is actually in the open. But even after that, she said, Kalula will not go.
And today
it is a recreation place. Look at the vision that some of our leaders had. Look at the vision, though both political and the church leadership. Joya and Wangari Maathai. This is what we need in Kenya. We can change this country, Kenya, but it only needs men and women who are saying success has to be accompanied by sacrifices.
That's very true. We've got great visions for this country, and I know the president does, I know Raila does. We all believe that this country should be better than what it is today. We want to make sure that when you go to hospitals, you're going to get medication there. You're not going to be sent to a chemist outside the hospital where the doctor who is treating you operates. We want to make sure that the poor within our society, I know Jesus said the poor we shall always have, but at the same time, in Corinthians, Paul tells them that they should take care of their poor. We should have people who are not well endowed coming to the churches. Say like on Sunday, we should have quite a number of them coming because they know we are going to get help. So we need to do something. You need to do something. I know we keep on talking about the leaders, but it all starts with us. I play my role, you play your role, and before long, we have a huge army of people who are playing their role and changing the small places where they are. And as you do that, the entire country will reverberate because of the effect that they're feeling out of what you're doing. So please do what you're supposed to do, play your role. We'll all be accountable before God on the role that we played to make Kenya a better place. And with that, do have yourself a lovely morning and continue watching your TV, EBN, Ecclesia Broadcasting Network. In a couple of minutes or so, actually at around 11, Daughters of the Kingdom will be coming. Doctors of the King will come, and they'll be talking about matters that are affecting the women in the country, the women in the Bible, and how to apply the teachings of the scripture into our everyday life. You don't want to miss that. Do have yourself a lovely morning. Thank you very much.